Hello and welcome to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosien. Our producer is Nick Steffens. Our publisher is Matt Bryant, and we're part of the Southeast Iowa Union. Exciting things today. So local events, obviously the midterms just finished. While we steer clear of politics, we are going to touch lightly on religion this week with our guest after the break, Pastor Pastor Devaughn from the United Methodist Church. On Friday, our guest is Dan Henderson, author of Confessions of a Recovering Evangelical. So we'll see how deep we go or don't go. We are looking forward to these conversations, but while we avoid politics, we're gonna do a little light religion this week on Washington Live. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and would love it if you share so we can grow our group together and continue to bring you content that is relevant and interesting to you. If you have a birthday shout out, you can stick that in the chat, or you can email washialive@gmail.com. Oh, happy Wednesday. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I mean, the sun's shining, and
I know, it's beautiful. It's almost hot. I did short sleeves, and
I'm still in my sweaters, so
we'll see how much time we have left with that. Because according to the weather report, it's 65 and partly cloudy as we speak right now.
And then there's like a chance of snow Thursday night. So,
Is there really?
Yeah. If it's 20 some degrees and it rains or whatever, I'm assuming it's going to be.
I must have had weird dreams. I would not have remembered it had you not just said that, but I had a dream that it was like March 1st, winter was almost done, spring was almost here, and we hadn't had a single snow. But
I think that does sound like a dream.
It's not a reality. 'Cause did we talk about the caterpillars already and how there's like no brown on them? They're like all black.
No.
So several of the caterpillar sightings that I've seen both on Snap and mentioned to me are apparently an indicator, this would be some Farmer's Almanac stuff, of the brutal winter ahead, depending on how like furry, fuzzy, and how much, because there's ones that are black with a little brown in the middle, but if they're like all black and very furry, it is a sign of a brutal winter. And that's how they've been.
Great.
Yes, something to look forward to. Let's see, what do we have? Police report since we've last spoken. 59 calls for service. In the category of traffic, there have been 21, 6 for theft, 5 in animal, 4 welfare, 3 harassment, 2 trespass, 2 alarm, 2 vandalism, 2 civil standbys, 2 in fraud, 2 in property lost and found, and then we have singles in the rest of the list. Let's see what you pulled for me. This seemed interesting. Thanks for pulling it. Washington, I guess in the southwest side of Washington County. Caller reports they had tires stolen from a vehicle. They have located the tires on listed license. The operator fled the area when confronted. A dispute later occurred at the intersection of Highway 1 and 78 in Keokuk County. 9211, ISP 193, Iowa State Patrol 364, multiple Jefferson County deputies, and Morse Towing responded. It's a wild time.
Yeah.
Jefferson County took possession of the operator on a local warrant. 9211 advised charges pending for theft first, possession of a controlled substance third or subsequent, trespass, and driving while barred. That is a pile of bad behavior.
That guy's playing like Grand Theft Auto in real life. Just racking up all the charges.
Yeah. Not to be released unless to a valid driver and they show proof of insurance. So, interesting day. That started at 15:58, so that's about 4 o'clock.
Nice.
Things started hitting the fan there. On Madison, we have the report of a juvenile confronted about being in their dumpster. He then slammed a cart into a vehicle and left. 109 and 110 responded, and 111. The vehicle owner did not want to pursue anything. The store wanted the juvenile to be advised to stay out of their dumpster. Officers will attempt to locate.
Kids these days, man.
Dumpster diving. Well, I mean, my heart breaks if there's a reason, but it sounds like shenanigans.
Yeah.
The reason I had you pull this, on the east side of town, caller reports someone is harassing them in the Walmart parking lot. 109 and 112 responded. Officer will check with Walmart later. And then I pulled another one too, with another juvenile, just harassing random strangers.
I got harassed in Mount Pleasant the other day by some juveniles. They yelled something that I will not repeat on the air.
That's nice of you.
But yeah, like I was just filming a commercial for Hy-Vee, and they yelled at me to take a photo of their you-know-whats. And I was like, okay, I'm just trying to
expose themselves?
They didn't expose it. They just said, take a picture of this.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I got harassed. I got 10 o'clock in the morning. They should be in school.
The Washington kids are well-behaved compared to these Mount Pleasant children.
Yeah, it was 3 of them in a pickup truck.
21 76 Lexington Boulevard, we had a subject in a blue Grand Prix who came up behind them and revved their engine. 110 was advised. Luckily, we have lots of first responders because that is a call for that, which we will not share in the police report. So it could be, we've had better behavior and worse behavior, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else before we go to break?
Is there any local events coming up?
We have things coming up around the 19th and the 22nd.
Oh, that's
so we have a few
that's
days.
a ways away.
We have a few days before those local events. Stick around after the break. We're going to touch light on religion with the new pastor at the United Methodist Church, Anthony Devaughn. We'll see you after the break.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross. Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656.
Hey, Emmy, why did the orange lose the race?
Why?
It ran out of juice. That's terrible.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm Jaron, this is Nick, and our guest today is Pastor Devaughn from the United Methodist Church. Welcome, Reverend. It's a handful.
There's a tongue twister, I see, Jaron.
It did catch me there. Well, it's so great to have you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
As mentioned, Pastor Devaughn and I don't know each other well, but what's neat is to be connected because your father, George,
Yes.
is still living, 92 years old.
92.
And my grandpa, Jim, were both Kiwanis AMers for a very long time. Grandpa passed at 86, but they were good friends. And so we are connected, which is a pleasure.
My dad did mention that about your dad. He was telling me about that, so yeah.
Well, and we're going to talk a little bit about church and the ministry, but I can't help but bring up what a sharp dresser you are. We've been talking about pocket squares and suits, and just, if you're going to be neat, you start with the feet, is what Grandpa would say. Grandpa also worked at Joe Falk for 25 years and never brought home a paycheck, Grandpa says. So men of similar taste.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. It's nice to carry yourself in a manner. Let's talk about the church. You are here as a new minister, but you're not new to the ministry.
That's correct.
How did you land in Washington? What brought you back?
Well, it's funny when you say brought me back. Before I got here, my dad kept saying, "When are you coming home, son?" I wasn't born here.
Oh, very
I was
well.
born in Milwaukee, raised in California. But I understood when my dad said coming home because that's where he is.
Sure.
And what brought me to beautiful Washington, Iowa was to be here with my dad. He's had some health challenges. And I was visiting him, and my last trip in 2021, I said, I'm moving.
Coming back.
And I moved. I always say that I even think about it, that I pray about it, and my spirit said move, and I left here in November, and I got back and I said, I'm moving April 1. My last day of work was March 31st. April 1, I had my car loaded and on my way back to Washington. And I've been here ever since.
Well, welcome, or I can't say welcome back, I suppose, because we were born here, but I suppose
It
works.
I say, well, you can say welcome back because I did. Home is where my dad is, and so this is home.
Beautiful. Happy you're here. And you're not alone. I understand you're a newlywed. Of course, in the studio, we have your lovely bride, or wife now. Tell us about your family that is here in Washington now.
Well, I was married on September 24th. I was appointed to the church July 1. And
These are busy times.
yeah, there was a certain amount of excitement of getting a new pastor. And then I started saying I was going to get married, and it took it all to a whole nother level. I say now, Jaron, the church likes my wife better than they like me.
Oh, the charm. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's
She's a
very
lovely
sweet.
lady, yeah.
Very sweet of you to say, and happy to have you in the studio with us as well.
We dated for about 4 years in California. She says I left her because I moved here to be with my dad. And we won't give her side of the story, but I moved.
How convenient. She said she didn't want to come on camera, but we might have to.
Might have to get the other side. Yeah. So, right, sweetheart?
Oh, there you are. Well, it sounds like love pulled that back together.
I called her. We had started communicating again, and I said, you have to come see if you can do Iowa. And she came in June of this year and stayed for 2 weeks. I proposed to her, and then she, thanks be to God, said yes. And September 24th, we walked down the aisle here at Washington United Methodist Church. Our pastor from LA flew in and married us.
That is wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about LA and about here, but to lead into that, what called you to the ministry? How we know what brought you back to Washington, Iowa. What brought you to the work, to the Lord's work?
Well, we don't have that much time. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Raised in the church, and from a very young age, people used to say, there's something special about you, you're different. And so just all through my life, but in my earlier travels, I came to a point, Jaron, where I said, I'm going to really do this. And within, I'll say this, within the black community, when you say you're going to be serious about ministry, they say, oh, you're going to be a preacher. I was like, I don't know about being a preacher, because in my view, when I see preachers, I'm going, that's not me.
Is that more like a revival type of, or how? Explain the difference to me. That explain a little bit more for me.
Well, and like when you say you're called, when you say you're called, people immediately go, oh, you're going to be a preacher. And for me, when I said I'm called, I understood I'm going to do what God wants me to do. I'm going to live my life a certain way for the Lord.
I follow.
So, in service, helping people.
Whatever that service may be.
Exactly.
And not necessarily being called to specifically preacher.
Right. And I think I'm more of a teacher than a preacher. But there are those who in the church say, oh, we love your preaching. And I'm going, well, okay, as long as you're happy. You know, I've been struggling with it because I don't like I don't like my voice, first off. And like Dominique, she'll be playing back the Facebook Live sermon on Sundays. I'm like, please turn that down. I hate to hear my voice. I just don't like my voice.
Some of that's normal, I think. I've heard that before. And that might lead into, I'm going to jump around with the questions. I wanted to ask what the favorite part of the work that you do is and what the most challenging part is. And maybe that leads in, but what do you like best and what's the hardest about the job?
They kind of are similar. The best part about the job is the people. And the hard part is the people.
Absolutely. We wouldn't use the word worst there. We'd use the word hardest. The most challenging.
Challenging,
That's what I'm hearing.
I am a people person. I'm a people watcher. Even just on the day-to-day, I'll be walking, I'll say something, I'll speak to people. Hello, how you doing? I love people. And so in ministry, a part of my journey has been to help people. One of the things I believe, Jaron, is that you can't move people until you know where they're at. So a part of the journey is developing those relationships with people, getting to know them and what moves them, what stops them. And so then within that, the challenge of the people, then it comes to people are in their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. They've done this all their life. This is what they know.
And some don't want to be uncomfortable. Some
That's
may,
right.
some very much may not.
Right. Well, exactly. I always say if you're comfortable in your faith, then your faith may not be very strong. Because what God calls us to do is uncomfortable. To go out and to the highways and byways and make disciples. And within the Methodist Church, we are called to be transformers in the world and in the community. You have to go outside the walls. You can't wait till people come into the church. We have to go out. So in the Great Commission, it says, go ye. It doesn't say come and sit.
Come and sit. Oh, very good points.
Yeah.
The overlap, I can't help but think of my work just at the restaurant, similar. The most rewarding is also the most challenging, and that would be staff and team members and just people,
Right.
humans.
Right.
So rewarding,
Right.
also so challenging. Yeah.
They test you.
United Methodist Church here in Washington. You came from a church in LA.
Right.
How are they similar? How are they different? What were you doing on the West Coast before you came?
I was at a Methodist church in Los Angeles. I was at St. Mark United Methodist Church, and then our sister church, which is Faith United Methodist Church.
And George attended Faith Baptist, is that
Exactly.
correct? Yeah.
He still does.
So does my dad, and I grew up Prairie Flower Baptist, so
Yeah,
also
out
grew
on
up
the
in the
highway.
church and
Right.
did a year of Bible college in Ohio.
Okay.
And for that reason feel comfortable and interested in, it's just a little background for you that
Right.
you might not be aware of.
That part I didn't know.
Yeah. So you had a sister church, it was the
Faith United Methodist Church.
Faith United Methodist Church, yeah.
And what happened there, I was the assistant pastor at St. Mark. The pastor at the other church decided she didn't want to be there anymore, and so they had no pastor. So I went over, I was the pastor of that church and led that church up until I left. And so ministry has just been, it's interesting because I was very active in the church, singing in the choir, a musician. I played drums, on the trustee board, finance, everything. So leadership is, I won't say natural, but that's a part of who I am, leading and guiding.
That calling that you spoke of,
Right.
there it goes. What minister flew back from LA that was ordained to do your ceremony? Who came back?
His name is Reverend Gary Bernard Williams, a good friend of mine. He has been very instrumental in my faith journey as I was pastoring in LA, and so being under him being my shepherd in LA, it just made sense for him to come and perform the wedding. It was a great time. Pastor Gary came with his wife, and a couple of other members from the church came, and it was just a good time to have some familiar faces be in this time of celebration. So it was a good time. He's an amazing man that he actually, in his early ministry, had an opportunity to come to Iowa, and before he got appointed in California. So when he came out here, he was like, oh man, I should have came here. So.
Oh shoot. Well, do you think Reverend Williams will visit again?
Yes, that is the plan.
Will that be a trip to take?
That is the plan. They had a great time. Small town, slow, quiet. The people are amazing here. And that's one of the biggest things that when I first got here, people are like, oh, it must be a culture shock. I'm like, no. And I say that more so, Jaron, because I know why I came. I didn't just go, let me move to Iowa.
You weren't just drawing a random little dot on the map.
Right.
Yeah, there's a reason.
I came with a purpose. And so, yeah, it is different, but it's not like, oh my God. It's the people here are just, and that's what Gary and all the people who came from LA, they were just drawn by the love of the people, the kindness of the people. So yeah, it's been, again, the great part of the job, people. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And as one that didn't anticipate landing back in my hometown, but also was pulled back in and pleased to have been, I'm happy to hear the good reviews.
Yeah.
We're going to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the differences that we were just highlighting, as well as some of the things at the church coming up, and maybe when your services are, if those listeners might be interested in the United Methodist Church. On this episode of Washington Live, stick around. We'll see you after the break.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Welcome back to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm Jaron, this is Nick, and our guest is Pastor Devaughn. And I was just going to say, so preacher, pastor, minister, reverend, all of it, what, which one is at the top of the billing?
We'll stay with Pastor.
Pastor Devaughn.
Yeah.
Before we close out with our birthday shout-outs and birthday game, if you have one, stick it in the chat. I wanted to touch just a little bit more on, I think I know, but the differences in LA and Washington, Iowa, your commute, the traffic, where you were living, what you might miss. Do you miss some things, and what are they from the West Coast?
The only thing I miss is the beach.
The beach, that works.
That's it.
Lake Darling is beautiful, doesn't have the same waves.
Well, I'll be brief. When I got here, my dad, we were talking about it, and he was showing me around Washington, and we went out to Mar Park.
Yes, yeah.
You know how much water Mar Park has.
Compared to the ocean.
And I'm a bike rider. He's like, there's your water and there's the bike path. I'm like, okay, Dad. Not quite what I had in mind. But that's really the biggest thing. But what I love is that there is no traffic. My commute is, now it's about 2 miles from home to church. So that is lovely.
And if you were at the church, your commute to here would have been just a quick walk across the street.
I actually drove. But that's because I brought Dominique and she's kind of injured. But
well, that makes sense. I've spoken to others that have said the same and said, gave me a hard time for driving 4 blocks, 5 blocks, 6 blocks, and it's just like so easy. And now those individuals also drive 4, 5, 6 blocks because we can.
Yeah,
Our Main Street director, or former Main Street director who might be watching, did say that Washington doesn't have a parking problem, we have a walking problem. But that's for another show, another time. Tell us a little about the church and when your services are and what our viewers might like to know about the United Methodist Church.
Well, folks, I don't know if you can see, Jaron is holding a lovely pen. How was that pen, Jaron?
It's nice. I've been using it, and thank you for the gift. Nick has one also. We picked our colors. They were black, red, blue, and gray.
Our church services are every Sunday, 10 o'clock. We have recently began Sunday school, which is at 9 o'clock. So we have 9 o'clock Sunday school, 10 o'clock worship service. I am looking to add another worship service, but right now we just have the one. On Wednesday night, we have started back our youth group, which is open from ages, is it third grade to 12th grade.
Third to 12th.
We meet on Wednesday night at 6:30. So we meet tonight in our youth room in the Wesley Center. The church has been excited. We're getting more into actual active ministry. A lot of things changed with COVID, so a lot of the outreach was not being done, like with HACAP and what have you. I come from a tradition, Jaron, where the church provided all the services, food pantry, clothing drives, and all those types of things. Here in town, a lot of that is done through HACAP, which is not a bad thing, but we've been shifting our thoughts back to being the source, as opposed to me saying, well, go see Jaron. We should be able to provide those services that people need.
Well, it reminds me of the Ella Griffith Trust, which is brand new for you and has been a case for a while for me. Ella Griffith was born in the early 1900s and had no family and gave of her land to a trust that is specifically designated. The proceeds every year go to the aged. And there's 3 people that sit on this disbursement and sort through those applications. Pastor Devaughn will be new to that. It's the minister of the United Methodist Church, the mayor of the city of Washington, and the auditor for the county. So those roles change, but the person changes, but the roles remain the same. And I can stick that in the chat too, but that is a great, it kind of ties right into your calling as you just described it.
Yeah, and learning on that, I just learned of it last week. And I was like, well, Anthony, do you know about that? I'm like, no.
I had the same experience in my first year as mayor. And all of these things happen first. I get the job, and then it's, hey, there's this thing we should probably tell you about.
Yeah, I've had quite a few of those, Jaron. But again, it's been smooth. The church has been amazing in, I'll say, transition from the last pastor to me, current, and again, been very welcoming. And,
Pastor Song, yeah. If it's important to our viewers, what type of worship service do you have? Is it contemporary or traditional or a mix of both? What's the worship service like?
It's a good question. Well, right now, I would put it more traditional. I was raised on the hymns of the church, and so we still sing hymns. We have an amazing music department. Our Ministry of Music is very strong, led by Linda Sokup, and so we do some contemporary music, but the overall worship is more traditional. And so, but I believe it welcomes both. We have a good mix of people. The similarities between this church and LA is that it is an aging population. So our average age probably now is probably 60, maybe 70, which was similar to where I was in California. Prayerfully, we have our youth group going. The atmosphere in the church is different, so prayerfully we will start seeing people coming back and getting a better mix of young families. But
the fruits from those labors,
yeah. So it's right now we're in a good season, and we're enjoying it.
Well, happy to talk about it. And if it interests you, you could go to Sunday school at 9, church at 10, or youth group on Wednesday evenings, 3rd grade and up. What else should we have?
One more thing that I forgot that I was told to mention. Won't say her name, but also we have on Tuesday nights, which was just yesterday, Celebrate Recovery.
Yes, I've heard about this.
It's held at Washington UMC, and Celebrate Recovery meets at 6:30. Meets at 6 for a free dinner. 6:30 we go into worship, and we do small groups. And Celebrate Recovery is for anybody. It's not just for chemical addiction and that. It's their model. If you have a hurt, hang up, or habit, celebrate recoveries for you.
And I'm sure that's discreet and private,
Right.
anonymous.
Everything is
Or
confidential.
stays in that.
What is said in that
space.
building stays in that building. So yeah.
So that's Tuesdays at 6:30, if that
Six.
fits for what you need.
Yeah.
Well, happy to talk about this. On a less important but still fun note, we close out our show with the birthday game and some birthday shout-outs. Is there anything we've missed before we transition to closing?
No, I think that I appreciate the invitation. Members at the church on the committee that looked into hiring me were like, oh, you need to go do this, because we just came through Pastor Appreciation Month, October.
Maybe, well, we missed it by a hair, but it was a couple members that had mentioned, hey, we would love to have our pastor on your
Right.
show, and you've been on the list. We just kind of have to work through that list.
Appreciate you squeezing me in. It's been good. It's been fun. It's been a long time since I've done something like this, so
Well, and we're
I
learning.
hope I did okay, everybody.
Oh, it's been great. And you mentioned, too, you were complimenting the studio, which Nick set up as his first job out of school, and that caused reflection. It's been 5 months, so to all that watching and to those that
Amazing.
will continue to grow together, it's just been 5 months.
Yeah. Our looking ahead, our Christmas episode will be our 6-month anniversary.
Oh, perfect. We have a request for that. Is it the one about the radio play?
No, Christmas, not Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, that's an upcoming show as well. There's a hint. Do we have any birthday shout-outs in the chat?
Not that I can see.
On my list, I have Sam Cotner, Regina Mullins, Diana's mom, Regina, has a birthday, and Kim Messenger. Happy birthday to you. And it looks like we have 5 celebrity birthdays that Nick will torture us with as we guess ages.
Okay.
If you are spot on, you get 2 points. Within 3 years, 1 point. And there is a prize, optional prize, if you wish to take it. Nick, take it away.
Yeah. Well, to start, the National Day is National Scrapple Day. Do you know what scrapple is?
Is it a type of, is it like grappling?
No, it is a food, actually.
Food,
Yeah, it's pork scraps mixed with like cornmeal,
Oh, my.
like kind of packed together. It did not look appeasing. Appealing,
Is
I guess.
it good? Have you had
I've
scrapple?
never had it, but it's not appealing.
It's not appealing, and apparently it's the first pork dish in the United States. I guess I could have gotten a picture for the audience, but
Well, I'm gonna
imagine a brick of pork.
Oh, yeah, I wish I could just pass it. It almost looks like hash browns.
Yeah.
A little square. So National Scrapple Day, if you're feeling adventurous and like balling on a budget.
I don't have a recipe for it, but okay, let's get into this birthday game. First
Mush
up,
of pork scraps and trimmings combined with cornmeal, wheat flour, and spices such as sage, thyme, savory, and black pepper.
No, thank you.
Who are the birthdays today?
first up, we got Lou Ferrigno, who is known for playing an Incredible Hulk. He's so muscular they just painted him green. It was like the 70s, and there was no
Oh, the original.
like the original
Okay.
Incredible Hulk. They just painted him green and sent him out there.
Good to know. Guess first. What would you like to?
72.
72. I'll say. I'll go younger. 68.
You guys both get a point. He is 71. So
Ooh,
start
nice.
out 1-1.
Nice little friendly game so far.
Next up, we have, where is he? Taron Egerton?
Who is he?
Egerton.
Actor.
I have seen him in a show on Amazon just recently.
He played Elton John in the biopic recently.
That's right. Okay, so I'll go first for Taron.
Go for it.
That's my name, but with a T. Okay. Oh, he's got to be younger than I. So 29? 29.
34.
He is 33. So going out to a 2-1.
You get a point. I do not. I should have stuck with 31. Is that why you were smirking? I saw a little smile.
Maybe.
1 point for you, 0 for myself.
Next up is Kiernan Shipka, who she was a very talented childhood actress, although not a child anymore. So I guess just a talented actress.
Very good. I suppose you're up.
Still looks like a child. 23.
22.
She is 23. So jumping up to a 4-2 lead. Right
So
on.
2 points for you, 1 point for myself.
Next up, we have.
I think you're gonna take the win.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Unless I
game
land
left.
right on.
Miranda Lambert, the country singer.
All right, Miranda Lambert. Am I up
tough
first?
I
I am. I'll go 30.
Go, Mr. Mayor.
I'll say 35.
That's a tough one. You said 35, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stay on your coattail. 36.
Nick?
She is 39.
So you get a point, and I'm
another
just
point.
shy again.
5-2. It's an official win, but we'll play the last celebrity here. This one's for.
This reminds me of pickleball, actually. Like, I was doing so well today, still just got...
This one is more for me. This is Josh Peck from a childhood show of mine, Drake and Josh, where he kind of played himself, I guess.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
I don't know if you guys will know him, but I do.
No.
No idea, but I guess you're up, and I think you have the win, even if I
there's no way
got
you
it
can
right
win.
on. So childhood show, I'll give you a hint from his childhood, and Nick is 23.
I'm 23, yes.
I was about to say, okay, you look older than that, Nick.
I get that a lot.
And that's not a bad thing. 26.
I'll go 23.
He's actually
me 2 points.
He's actually 36. You guys were both way off.
What's going on? I thought, wow. 002, 3, 4, 2.
It was
3, 4,
5-2.
5-2. Congratulations on the win. If you'd like something for your office, thanks
You
to
take the trophy. If
our
you-
publisher Matt Bryant for this. It is yours if you wish.
I like to think.
Well, keep us posted. We'll have to have you back if there's anything to talk
I'd love
about.
to,
Very
yeah.
much enjoyed the conversation today. Thank
Been
you.
good. Thank you, Jaron. Nick?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers that make it all possible. Anything we need to know, you can put it in the chat or email washialive@gmail.com. We'll see you on Friday when we have author Dan Henderson on the show. See you then.